I will call the meeting to order. Thank you. And pursuant to Standing Order 1082 and the motion adopted on Monday, October the 2nd, 2017, the Minister is here to give us a briefing on the government's new cultural policy. Minister, you've been around this block before, so you know that you have 10 minutes-ish, and that after that there will be questions and answers.
Thank you. Yes.
Without any further ado, could you begin, please, Minister?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm pleased to be here today to talk about Creative Canada, our government's vision for the future of Canada's creative industries. And I'm joined by Graham Flack, my Deputy Minister, and also Guylaine Roy, the Associate Deputy Minister of Canadian Heritage. Let me start with a question, actually two questions. Why has culture always mattered to Canadians? And why should it matter now? The answers to these questions are fundamentally about who we are and who we want to be. We are a small, diverse population spread over a large landmass. We're a country bound by reconciliation and shaped by the rich cultures and traditions of Indigenous peoples. We are a country rooted in our official languages, English and French. Et on reconnaît qu'il y a 8 millions de francophones qui vivent entourés de centaines de millions de...
We recognize that there are 8 million francophone Canadians surrounded by millions of English language speakers.
Human rights. We are a cultural diverse country that looks like the world. And all of these strengths make our culture and our identity dynamic. And this strength is reflected in our creative industries. Our arts and culture sector is a $54.6 billion industry that boasts more than 630,000 jobs. And behind each of those jobs is a talented, hardworking individual. It is because of these people we invested $1.9 billion in our arts and culture in our very first budget 2016, the highest investment amongst G7 nations at the time. This investment included commitments of $675 million to CBC Radio-Canada, $550 million to the Canada Council for the Arts, and increased funds for Telefilm Canada and the National Film Board, amongst others. Et ce n'est qu'une première étape. Beaucoup reste.
And that's just the first step. Much more can be done. This is why I decided to gather together the different players in our cultural world to determine what the priorities and challenges and opportunities are. More than 30,000 Canadians participated in our process. I heard of their challenges, I heard their ideas, and I heard of the numerous opportunities before us. So here is the big question. How can we go about protecting and promoting our culture in a digital, borderless world? The comments that I heard directly have shaped the vision of our government for Creative Canada. Beyond the consultations, we have acted in various files. There were a few concrete issues that we decided to take measures for. Our historical investments that I've just mentioned. But let's deal with the context. When I was appointed, we had to reestablish a trust relationship with the cultural industry, the cultural sector. After years of cuts and slashes, we wanted to show the cultural sector to what extent it is important. And this is why we made historical investments in culture. In August of last year, we also referred 2 decisions back to the CRTC for review, and we asked it to determine how we might find a good balance between 2 requirements, investing in content and allowing our creators to compete. We also invested $35 million over 2 years to promote the export of our culture because there had been cuts in the sector, and we wanted to ensure that we would be able to pursue our diplomatic interventions internationally in our creative industries. We invested $4.15 million for the Music Fund in Canada. With that single investment, 100 musicians were able to benefit from this. We also launched an independent process for the appointment of the CEO, the board presidents, and the members of the board of Radio-Canada CBC. On September 28th, I delivered a speech outlining this new vision, Creative Canada, along with the first initiatives to help us get there. This vision has a clear objective, that Canada be a world leader thanks to the quality of our creative industries, with creators able to create original products for here and abroad, and in order for us to be leaders, creating a space for Canadian content on all of the digital platforms available in Canada.
Incredible talent at home. Encourage them to develop their ideas into great stories. We want to entice them to take risks and innovate on many platforms. We want to help them distribute their work at home and abroad. Et nous allons soutenir la création de...
And we are going to support the creation of high-quality French language content thanks to the wonderful work of our producers. Our vision has 3 pillars. First of all, we want to invest in our creators and their stories. And to do this, we want to take action in several areas. For example, to counter the drop of cable distribution income with the Canadian Media Fund, we're going to increase the federal participation in this fund to fund French language content worth a third. We're going to be supporting the Cape Breton Centre for the Arts, 312 Main Street, and others. We're going to modernize programs like the Canada Music Fund and eliminate the troublesome red tape. We're going to modernize the Copyright Act and take other measures. This will allow us to emphasize our unique content, our strength, taking into account our linguistic duality, the participation of Aboriginal communities, and our other strengths.
Distributed across Canada and around the world. In this area, we ask ourselves 2 main questions. How do we ensure that we have a strong domestic market? And in the global hunt for stories, how do we make sure that Canadian content stands out and can reach audiences around the world? And we are responding to these questions in a number of ways. We're investing $125 million over 5 years to support Canada's first ever creative export strategy that will put boots on the ground at embassies and missions, increase our presence at international events, and help our creative industries access new markets. As part of this strategy, I will be leading Canada's first creative industries trade mission to China in April 2018. In addition, we're launching a review of the Broadcasting Act and the Telecommunications Act. We have asked the CRTC to look at how new models will support the creation and distribution of Canadian entertainment and information. And we will be launching a Creative Industries Council to foster collaboration and innovation within our creative industries. We will use the tools we have to ensure companies coming into Canada contribute to our goals, including support for content in both official languages. Since our existing tools do not take into account the existence of digital platforms, our government thought it necessary to subject Netflix and the Netflix investment to a review under the Investment Canada Act. The investment encompasses the following: the creation of Netflix Canada, the first production company of its kind for Netflix outside the United States; a minimum net investment of $500 million in original productions in Canada in English and French over 5 years; and an additional $25 million for a French language market development strategy for Canada that targets creators and producers inside and outside Quebec and helps them fund things like pitch days for producers and recruitment events. And of course, this investment will help showcasing and highlighting our Canadian productions on their platform. The investment represents a guaranteed minimum investment from a foreign platform in our creators and in our stories. Turning now to our third pillar, strengthening public broadcasting and supporting local news. I want to recognize the hard work of this committee on this issue. Thanks to all. Your rigorous review, witness testimony, and findings helped identify clear concerns and confirmed that Canadians care deeply about the issue. Among the measures were announced are renewing and strengthening the mandate of our public broadcaster, reviewing the Canada Periodical Fund to provide the support that our publications need to innovate, adapt, and transition onto the platforms Canadians choose, and supporting local news by encouraging innovation and experimentation and the transition to digital. We continue to work on a whole-of-government approach to these issues facing local news, which we know is critical to our democracy. En conclusion, Canada Créatif.
In conclusion, Creative Canada is an innovative approach that allows us to invest in our creators and our culture. It's a transition plan. It is the logical next step in the leadership we have always shown in a very important file. We're therefore halfway down this road, and there's much left to be done. I recognize that change can bring about anxiety, and this is why it is with great humility that we have launched ourselves in this major reform. The aim of our government is to improve the fate of our cultural sector in English and in French, and to help it grow. On behalf of our creators, on behalf of all of these incredible talents and these numerous middle-class families that work in this flourishing industry, we must unite our efforts to have a resolutely Canadian path to follow. I would now be pleased, Madam Chair, to answer any questions my colleagues might have for me.
Always, we will begin with a 7-minute question and answer round, and I begin with Julie DeBruson for the Liberals. For 7 minutes, please.
Thank you, Minister, for coming today to talk about your Creative Canada vision. I know that in my community, this is something that's generated a lot of interest and excitement, and so I'm happy to be able to talk with you a bit more about it today. And today, in fact, is a great day because we have the Canadian Arts Coalition here on the Hill for Arts Day on the Hill. I know that you have many people here who are listening about that. One of the recommendations I believe that they made had been with respect to cultural hubs and creative hubs. And you mentioned it a bit in your opening statement, but I was wondering if you could talk about what is your vision for creative hubs in Canada?
Thank you, dear colleague. Of course, we believe that there are different ways and new innovative ways for our artists and creators to do their work and create. And so, in the context of our reinvestments in cultural infrastructure, which are up to $300 million, we've decided to set aside a part of that money to make sure we would be supporting these great creative hubs. Projects such as Artscape's Launchpad in Toronto, or the Cape Breton Centre for the Arts, that the new hub that was just announced by your colleague 2 weeks ago, or again 312 Main Street in Vancouver. These are key infrastructures in our creative sector, and actually it will help to our creators and our creative entrepreneurs to actually take ideas and create great content with it and create great businesses, SMEs with it. And so that's why we believe that these infrastructure are extremely important to grow the sector, scale it, and not only that, they will help different sectors from the arts and creative industries to partner, and there will be a lot of cross-pollination happening. So that's why it's great news.
Perfect. No, thank you. The other thing I was wondering, because I've talked with a lot of people over the past years in the design and architectural fields, and one of the things that they talk about is that sometimes when they're dealing with the federal government, it's not clear where those industries fall, whether it's innovation or whether it falls within heritage. And I was wondering, when you put forward your vision for Creative Canada, where do architecture and design fall?
Great question. Because when we decided to embark on this great adventure to create a new cultural policy for the country, we looked at different models across the world. And one of the models that we thought was very interesting was the UK one. And we inspired ourselves from the UK model, whereby rather than only including the cultural sector, so sectors such as music, performing arts, film and television, which are much more traditional sectors, we decided to broaden the definition of our sector to include design, fashion, and also architecture. And we'll be creating a new Creative Industries Council with people from all the sectors across our great milieu to ultimately advise us on how we could better our policies and better our programs to reflect that change in definition.
That's wonderful. I think that that's going to be very well received from people who I've been talking to in the design industry. So thank you for that. I mentioned that today's Arts Day on the Hill, but yesterday we also had another group on the Hill. The Canadian Association of Content Exporters were here. And they were here to talk with members of Parliament about the work that they're doing to export screen productions to international markets. You touched on a bit briefly, but I would like to hear a little bit more from you about what is in Creative Canada as a vision to help our cultural industries when they go to export markets and to export their products.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you look at what we've done with the policy, is actually we did a big shift. We decided that our creators were the most important players in the industry, in the sense that we wanted to focus all our policies towards creators. Because we believe that by supporting a great idea, then there's going to be great content that will be developed. Maybe a book, maybe a film, maybe a music. And by doing that, we want to support risk-taking and also excellence in the sector. Now, once there's great production, of course, we know that there's a global hunt for stories. And that we know, the internet being international by nature, that there are great markets that our creators can access and seize opportunities within. And so we've reinvested $125 million over 5 years. That will put boots on the ground in embassies. What does that mean? It means hiring people that are from the city or the region, that knows the market, that are able to help our artists and creators actually enter these markets and seize their opportunities. What we want to do also is to make sure that Canada is really present in international fairs. So for content exporters, they need to be supported by the government to actually be able to access these markets, meet the right people, and make these deals happen. So that's why we were present at the GamesCon conference for video games in Cologne this year. My colleague Sean Casey was there, well representing our country. That's why we'll be there for the Frankfurt Book Fair. We'll be the host of honor at the Frankfurt Book Fair in 2020. And also, that's why we're doing our first cultural trade mission to China in April, because we want to bring lots of great representatives of the industry, from Cirque du Soleil, for example, to Cavalia, but also people in the performing arts and virtual reality and video game sector, to make sure that we can help them seize opportunities in the Chinese market.
Thank you very much, Ms. Debuisson and Minister. Mr. Van Loon for the Conservatives, 7 minutes, please.
Mr. Clark will be doing most of the questions. I have one question. It's very quick. It actually doesn't really relate to the cultural policy, but there's an ice rink being built outside. Cost a fair bit, as I understand, to build. And most of those costs, I presume, go into the setup and the teardown. But it's only going to be open for 3 weeks. Why won't it be open for longer? And would you consider opening it for longer?
Well, we're extremely happy of the Canada 150 celebrations and how people from across the country have reacted. when we started this project, there was a big and costly project that was going to be organized on the Hill, and we decided to make it more community focused, much more to make it actually a place where people in Ottawa and from across the country could engage with and have fun. And so that's why we're really happy to have this skating rink. This is a first on Parliament Hill. I hope Mr. Van Loan will have the chance to skate together. And
That's why I want it to be more than 3 weeks.
and ultimately, I think that it will be providing, just a lot of fun, and this will be just a great way to close the Canada 150 celebrations.
Madame la Ministre, très content d'avoir...
Minister, I'm delighted to have this opportunity to question you. This is a first. I would like to come back to the Netflix issue because you stated that the $500 million were for the French language content and the Anglophone content, the English language content. It's confidential. We understand that. You can't delve into the minute details. But why did you need these $500 million? Either if there are measures targeting both English and French language programming. Thank you for your question. I'm pleased to be able to answer. And given that Guylaine Roy is the individual representing the government in the context of the Canada Investment Act, she will be able to outline for you the situation. In answer to your question, I would like to give you an overview of the way this works, the investment requests under the Investment Canada Act. I'll try to be brief. I am Director of Investment and Deputy Minister, and this falls under Investment Canada. I've held this position since September 2011. So what does this mean? Well, it's my role to support the Minister in the implementation of the Act and with regard to foreign investment in cultural industries. The Minister for Canadian Heritage has had these powers for years now, reviewing foreign investment. So we've got $500 million, and what's for French language in that budget? As you saw in the key commitments that were made public, there are two key elements. There's the fact that there are $500 million minimum for original Canadian production, encompassing French language and English language production. The $25 million recognizes the effort that will be made to work in Francophone markets, to approach throughout Canada Francophone markets, so inside Quebec and outside Quebec, to approach Francophone producers, to have exchanges with them and Netflix, and to give producers the opportunity to have pitch days with closer contact points. So beyond the $500 million, there's a specific effort that has been undertaken to approach the Francophone markets, and we discussed this with Netflix, outlining the fact that in Canada there are two markets. And within the $500 million envelope, you can't really tell me what's going to be devoted to Francophone production. Is it really confidential? Clearly, Netflix has a responsibility. Netflix decided to establish, for the very first time in its history, a production house outside the United States. So in this context, the mechanisms for reviewing investments under the Investment Canada Act were launched. Also, we wanted to obtain guarantees on the part of foreign companies for investment. All of the legislation in place doesn't allow us to go and get funding for digital platforms. Generally speaking, there at present is no mechanism under the Act that allows us to seek out these funds. This is why we are changing our laws, but this is also why we outlined this transition plan, an agreement based on 5 years, net investment agreement for $500 million, no matter what tax credits the company might obtain. If there's a co-production agreement with a Canadian production house, it's $500 million. And I'm convinced, furthermore, that Francophone producers, given their great ability and the quality of what they produce, will be able to seek out their share of the pie, because what I'm hearing from producers, Francophone producers, Quebec producers, is that they have already undertaken these conversations with the platform. Minister, I must also ask you this. The 5-year plan that you are going to be outlining for official languages, it was supposed to be by Christmas. It's going to be through the course of the winter. Is it going to be of the same size as the roadmap, the previous roadmap? And are you going to be indexing this amount in response to the request from the various linguistic groups? Clearly, the official languages issue is fundamental for us, and we're working very hard on an action plan for official languages. We've heard the concerns coming from language groups in minority situations. They say that there was no indexation under the previous government, that in fact no emphasis was placed on funding organizations, whereas language communities face immense challenges, be it for immigration, for early childhood education. We've heard hundreds, thousands of people during the course of our consultations throughout the country. I will have the opportunity to announce a very good plan with very good investments.
I'm sorry. I go to Monsieur Nantel. So nice to see you again, Monsieur Nantel.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Merci.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Always delighted to see Ms. Joly, Madame Roy, and Mr. Flack. So a question for your Deputy Minister to clarify a few issues. Is it true that in a memorandum in June 2016, you informed the Minister that numerous countries had already adapted their sales tax to cover the sale of online products like Netflix? Thank you, Mr. Nantel, for your question. First of all, I just want to clarify the question with regard to investment, the investment that Netflix decided to make in the country. That's not my question. I asked you a very precise question with regard to the sales tax. In essence, there was no negotiation with Netflix with regard to the tax exemption. There was no discussion on this matter. It's not part of the agreement. And there was never any discussion either with the platform, with the investor, with regard to the fact that we would never legislate on digital platforms. You can imagine I have a lot of questions, says Mr. Nantel. Forgive me, but I would ask that you not continue to interrupt me. Mr. Nantel is asking that an answer be provided to the question. Just two little considerations I'd like to add, and well, I have added them, and my colleague will answer. So, Mr. Flack, did you inform the Minister that several countries have already adopted this sales tax? Yes. The note to the committee stated that the sales tax in Canada, since its introduction, did not apply to international companies selling services in Canada. But other countries deal with this differently. Yes, that was my first point. There are countries that recently introduced a type of sales tax for these platforms, but the work is continuing elsewhere in the world, internationally. You also said that to not apply GST to services like Netflix would be a loss of revenue for the government, and it would also be an unfair advantage competition-wise. And did Mr. Monod receive this information as well? The note and the policy, the tax policy, and the fiscal policies in Canada fall under the jurisdiction of the Minister of Finance and not under that of the Minister of Canadian Heritage. I agree. But the note explains, as does the report of this committee, that GST for all digital products, not just cultural products, does not apply. It doesn't apply to foreign companies. Therefore, the result, the outcome, is that these companies do not pay this tax. I must move on to another issue. I understand what you're going to say. I know that it's complex, but you outlined that it's possible. Mr. Nantel, what I outlined is a cultural policy, not a tax policy. And the cultural policy includes investments of $2.2 billion to date, and a transition plan with an agreement with a foreign investor. Unfortunately, Madame Joly, I can't let you use up all my time. This is very unfortunate. But it's important to reform our laws to ensure that we're able to have good protection and promotion for our culture in the future. I sincerely hope that this will happen. You know that I fully agree with you. I share your views and your visions. But this committee spent 18 months reviewing these recommendations, and one of them was to ask internet providers to contribute. And when you tabled your report, the Prime Minister rejected this, and you did the same thing. Even Gerald Butts gave his apologies to some members of the committee. Had you seen that report when you set that aside, or was it just improvisation at the last minute? We've always said that we were against the imposition of a tax on the internet, but are you saying that the NDP is in favor of increasing taxes for internet providers? And perhaps you could answer my question.
Mr. Nantel, you've asked a question. Has Madame Joly answered it to your satisfaction? Are you asking another question now?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. Le streaming représente aujourd'hui l'essentiel du trafic sur Internet. Avec autant de streaming, on peut comprendre pourquoi les FAI font autant d'argent en ce moment. Est-ce que c'est à partir de ce constat que le 30 septembre dernier, pendant la diffusion de l'émission Tout le monde en parle, vous avez envoyé le tweet suivant à Pierre Calpelado: votre service Internet Vidéotron profite de la popularité de Netflix. Pourquoi ce service ne met-il pas d'argent dans notre culture?
Monsieur Nantel, je vous ai posé une question. Est-ce que c'est la position officielle du NPD d'augmenter les taxes sur les services Internet?
C'est très évident que c'est un sujet politiquement qui est délicat, puis je comprends que vous avez choisi de balancer ça sur les épaules du CRTC, mais la question n'est pas là. C'est vous qui êtes la ministre, vous avez plusieurs milliers d'employés derrière vous, et le milieu de la culture demande cette chose depuis bientôt 15 ans. Et à ce fait, le 3 octobre, vous êtes allé dire au milieu de la culture à Montréal que vous étiez prête à parler de la contribution des fournisseurs d'accès Internet à la culture, et vous auriez même dit qu'il devrait peut-être faire pression sur les députés libéraux pour que le gouvernement adopte une contribution. Est-ce que c'est vrai?
Vous n'avez toujours pas répondu à ma question.
Non, vous ne répondez pas à la mienne.
Le fait que, est-ce que c'est la position du NPD de vouloir imposer des taxes sur les fournisseurs d'accès Internet? Nous, notre position, elle est claire, je l'ai exprimée. Et ce que nous avons fait essentiellement, c'est qu'on sait qu'il y a de l'anxiété dans le secteur. On sait qu'il y a de l'anxiété dans le secteur de la production parce qu'on sait que nos câblos-distributeurs, leurs revenus diminuent et donc leur contribution au Fonds des médias diminue. Alors, comme gouvernement, ce que nous avons fait, nous avons décidé de trouver une solution, de répondre en fait aux préoccupations et de réinvestir des millions de dollars pour stabiliser le fonds. Et donc, la stabilisation du fonds fait en sorte justement que la contribution du gouvernement augmente, mais aussi, ça permet à nos producteurs, particulièrement producteurs francophones, qui bénéficient en fait à 30 de toutes les recettes du Fonds des médias du Canada.
Il ne me reste que 30 secondes, donc je vais vous demander si le 3 octobre, en sortant de cette rencontre-là, vous avez réitéré la même chose et 3 jours plus tard, votre bureau a contredit cette notion, publié un communiqué qui disait que ce n'était pas du tout votre intention de faire contribuer les FAI. Qui dit vrai? Le communiqué? Vous? Parce que là, c'est très difficile à suivre.
Comme je vous ai dit, nous, on a toujours eu une position claire sur la question. Je comprends que la position du NPD n'est pas tout à fait claire par rapport à la contribution en fait, au niveau des fournisseurs d'accès Internet au Fonds des médias. Mais ceci dit, pour nous, le gouvernement doit jouer son rôle. C'est ce que nous faisons et c'est comme ça que nous assurons d'avoir un secteur de la production fortifié.
Donc, vous n'avez jamais dit que les FAI devraient être partis à contribuer. Vous n'avez jamais dit ça.
Moi, je vous ai toujours dit que notre position était claire sur le sujet.
Merci.
Sorry. And we go now to Dan Van Dal for the Liberals.
Thank you. I'll be sharing my time with Rémi Nassé. Félicitations pour un très bon...
Congratulations for a very good presentation. In your speech on Creative Canada, you've often referred to the importance of supporting Canadian creative content in both official languages. As you know, official language minority communities rely on local news in their communities to know what's going on in their communities. And this is clearly the case in Manitoba and San Boniface, where I live and that I represent, and we rely on our local newspaper, La Liberté. Might you explain to us how Creative Canada will support journalism in minority official language communities? Thank you. Thank you, dear colleague. Clearly, be it in the context of our consultations on Canadian content in this digital age, or in the context of our official languages policy, I've heard reporters, newspapers, local newspapers throughout the country in minority language communities cry out. Their concern really was heard by the department. At present, we're trying to see how we might modernize the periodical fund to ensure that we can help them in this transition towards digital. And we're emphasizing the role of those media for the vitality of these minority language communities. The other thing is that given the action plan for foreign languages that we're working on, and I'm convinced that we will have good news to announce, well, in that context, this issue will be dealt with. Are there timelines for this initiative to change the plan or the way in which these these newspapers are funded? Well, in the coming months, we will be working on this modernization aspect. As I stated at the end of September in my speech about Creative Canada, I announced at the time that this vision that I was outlining in September was going to be a way of having an impact on all our policies, cultural policies and programs, and all of our rules and regulations and laws. So clearly, when I announced that we recognized the importance of journalism and we wanted to ensure that journalistic independence would be maintained and that we would be improving this fund, well, I had the digital platform issue in my mind, and this will be announced in the coming months. Thank you. Thank you, Minister, for being here this afternoon to participate in the activities of the committee. Welcome to Ms. Wine, Mr. Fleck. Minister, you first and foremost are a Quebec MP, like myself. I know that you're very familiar with the needs, but also the concerns, the fears that you outlined earlier of creators of content in Quebec. In the context of the digital upheaval you mentioned, since the beginning of your mandate, what concrete measures have you put in place in order to be able to support the industry, the creative industry in Quebec, and the Francophone creative industry throughout the country? Thank you. Listen, from the outset, this has been a concern and a priority for our government. By reinvesting $675 million in Radio-Canada CBC, we indeed can ensure that we'll be able to preserve a lever that was very impacted upon by the previous government. We also want to ensure that we reinvest in the talent of our creators. And I was at La Disque last Sunday. My colleague was there. Several provincial and federal MPs were there. And I chatted with several artists, performers, and we emphasized the importance of investing in CBC Radio-Canada. And on the ground, performers, artists sense this. It has a direct impact on their ability to earn a living and to work in their daily lives as artists. So investing in the CBC, that's one aspect. When the CRTC rendered its decisions with regard to some Francophone production houses, I was very surprised to see that there weren't necessarily any guarantees with regard to original Francophone content to be developed. And we might find ourselves with TV series that would be translations rather than independent original productions. And this is why we sent these decisions back to the CRTC for review. Because to my mind, we can't have a broadcasting system that is strong and Francophone if we don't have a strong production system in Quebec and throughout Canadian francophonie. So in the context of the Canada Media Fund, and I explained this earlier to colleagues opposite, given that there's been an extremely concerning drop in the envelope of money available for the Media Fund, given that cable operators have less revenue because people are opting out of cable, what we wanted to do was increase the federal government's contribution to ensure that we always have the same level of production for this transition. And when we look at the funding of the media fund, it's 33%, so a third of that fund that's devoted to the Francophone side, which really is a security for that production. Thank you, Minister. I have but a few seconds left. First of all, I would like to congratulate you. The creative framework that you've outlined, that we all had the opportunity to read, is an excellent framework, and we're very proud of it. But perhaps to be more precise in the span of a few seconds, tell me some measures within this framework that will allow us to further support the cultural industry for Canadian francophonie. One or two examples in 15 seconds.
Because you only have 15 seconds left. Thank you. So perhaps the minister can answer.
Madame la Présidente, c'est simple. On est
Madam Chair, it's simple. We're the first government that has had the courage to modernize our Broadcasting Act, modernize our Telecommunication Act, review the Copyright Act, while ensuring that we work with the CRTC and reinforce the mandate of CBC Radio-Canada. So we're very proud of this. It's a historic opportunity that arises every 30 years or so, and we've seized upon it.
And now we're going to go to a second round. It's going to be a 3-minute round only because we only have 15 minutes to do that with. And we will begin with Mr. Clark for the Conservatives. 3 minutes, please, Mr. Clark, and I'm going to cut you very sharply on that. Everybody else.
3 minutes?
Well. 3 minutes,
Okay.
question and answer.
Madame la ministre, vous parlez que vous dites que vous travaillez pour le terrain.
Minister, you're saying you're working for people in the field so that Quebecers and French-speaking Canadians have access to production. And we're talking about our production elsewhere in the world. But last year, your government met 99 times with giants, several times with Google, several times you and Google. Were other cabinet colleagues present there? We have to meet with these digital platforms because they're part and parcel of Canadians' lives. If I look at your phone, dear colleague, I'm convinced that all of the platforms we've had meetings with are present on your phone, on the screen, and on my phone and the phones of all of the people in the room. That being said, reality is such that we must hold these meetings because we're talking about Canadian content on these platforms. Also, we hold a lot more meetings with La Disque, l'UDA, and others. Might I finish my answer? Madam Chair, I have the time to respond. Madam Chair, might I have a response?
Their answers to a very crisp minimum. But go ahead, finish your sentence, Madam Jolie.
Et donc, la réalité, c'est que c'est très rare.
The reality is it's very rare that the cultural sector registers with lobbyists. I've had many more contacts with the cultural sector. I've had tens, hundreds of meetings with them throughout the country in French or in English, with the CMP, the Writers Guild, CIMA. I've had many more meetings with them than with the large platforms. Fine, if it's the truth. This morning we tabled a report on Air Canada. We were very gutsy, courageous. On the Official Languages Committee, we decided to recommend to the government that once and for all it give coercive powers, authority to Air Canada so that Canadians be respected in the 2 official languages. What do you think of this courageous move on our part? I haven't yet had the opportunity to read the report. I'll be delighted to look at your recommendations. But for our government, official languages are very important. The Commissioner for Official Languages plays a fundamental role within our government and generally throughout the country, because this is what ensures the vitality of linguistic communities with regard to official languages. We all agree that we can always do better. And clearly this is our aim as a government, support the vitality of our communities, but also ensure that we improve bilingualism. This was a unanimous report signed on to by all the parties, and we say that we need coercive measures. 30 seconds, fine. Do you believe, or do you plan on reestablishing the Official Languages Secretariat within PCO to ensure that it's not your department, but a separate branch of Privy Council that imposes on all other departments that they follow the Official Languages Act? Because at present, other departments aren't listening to yours. Clearly, we inherited the system developed by the previous government, but I wish to ensure you that your questions are most relevant, dear colleague, and we're working on a very good official languages program, and in the coming weeks and months I will be able to outline it for you.
Julie Zarowitz. Sorry, I just went blank there for a moment. Julie Zarowitz, and can't have two Julies on this committee, you know. It's getting to be ridiculous. Julie Zarowitz, please, for 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair, and a huge welcome to you, Minister, and a warm welcome to Ms. Roy and Mr. Flack. As you know, Davenport has a very large and talented artistic, creator and cultural community, and some of them are actually here today as part of Arts Day on the Hill. So there's huge interest in this Creative Canada policy. So I have a few questions for you. The first is, one of the conversations we've had in the riding is around the lack of affordable spaces for theatre, dance, visual musicians. There's a huge belief that there's a lack of affordable spaces across Canada, as well as in my dense urban riding of Davenport. So how does Creative Canada plan to support new performance spaces for artists and creators? I know we talked a little bit about community hubs. I'm wondering if there's some additional dollars as well for affordable spaces. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, of course, we reinvested importantly in our Cultural Spaces Fund. I was in your riding, dear colleague, announcing great news for the MoCA Museum. And we believe that it is really important to have these spaces built. So we've done different things. First of all, we allowed in the criteria of the program to do feasibility studies, and that will help groups to create projects and ultimately get funding for it. So that's the first thing. We've increased, importantly, our investments in cultural spaces to build, like you were saying, theaters, museums, and etc. But also, I've worked very hard with the Minister of Infrastructure, my colleague, Minister Sohi, to make sure that also in the context of the FPT agreements over infrastructure, that now, under our government, cultural infrastructure could be part of the infrastructure that is actually funded. That was not the case in the past. So for bigger projects, which are usually over $15 million, then they can have access to funding through the FPT agreements that are within the purview of the Minister of Infrastructure.
Great, thank you. My second question is, Davenport artists and creators would love to showcase their talents, not only to Canadians, but around the world. And I know you spoke a little bit about dollars in Creative Canada for boots on the ground to help connect the opportunities in different countries with Canadians. I wonder whether there might be some additional funding to actually get Canadian talent to go abroad.
That's a very good point. So in the increase of a budget of the Canada Council, that's actually one of the things they'll be doing. So we reinvested $550 million over 5 years in the Canada Council for the Arts. So we're basically doubling the budget of the Canada Council. It will have a bigger budget than even the UK own, Council for the Arts, and we're, way less than in the UK in terms of population. And so part of that reinvestment will help great artists, maybe in the performing arts, in the music sector, or again in the visual arts sector, to have access to funding to go abroad. So that's one thing. Also, in the context of our export strategy, we've given $4.18 million to the to Factor and Musique Action to really be able to support musicians and producers to actually seize new markets and enter new markets. And so that's another way for us to support the export of content, maybe in the music world or visual arts, performing arts.
Thank you, Minister. And we move on to Mr. Clark again.
Merci. Madame la Ministre.
Thank you. Minister, we're coming close to the 50th anniversary of the Official Languages Act, the 150th of Canada. So we were very courageous. You're being courageous as well, but I have some pretty courageous ideas to put forward. The $1 billion that you talk about, Well, I'm wondering what we're going to do with it. You're going to present a budget of over $1 billion. I certainly hope so, but don't you think it would be a good idea to send this money directly to the groups? This is what they're asking, that the monies not flow through the bureaucracy, through the departments where 3/4 of the monies are lost. Don't you think that some of the money, at least, might be able to be funneled directly to the communities that need it? And they would be much more accountable in that way. Because they would be responsible for their own expenditures. I had the opportunity to meet with several groups. Clearly, they were very critical of the way in which the money was administered in the past, because their impression was that there was a lot of money that was invested by the government for the government. And as you say, it's true that there was no increase of their funding in the past. The budget, the roadmap, is $1.2 billion. Clearly, we're working very hard to ensure that we will have a very good roadmap for the next 5 years. The roadmap expires on March 31st, and therefore, as of April 1st, we want to ensure that we do have a good roadmap in place. We talk about an action plan for official languages, rather. And several times, I've met with various groups. I met John Johnson twice last week, so we're working very hard together to find a way. I met with LACFA, I met with others. We want to improve the fate of our linguistic communities, and this relies on the dynamism of the organization. So clearly we're working hand in hand with them to come up with a good news story. The Official Languages Committee is soon going to be undertaking a study on the modernization of the Official Languages Act, and will be even more courageous than we were this morning. We want to give powers. We're recommending that we give coercive powers to the Official Languages Commissioner, like with regard to conflicts of interests, etc. When I'm in my writing, I ask people, do you think that the Official Languages Commissioner should have greater powers to apply the Act more intensively? Spontaneously, do you think that the Commissioner should have coercive powers, coercive authority? Because he seems to have no power at all. He seems to be a puppet with no power. I'm not convinced that the Commissioner is powerless. His work is very important. When an officer of Parliament puts questions to us, we take them very seriously. Clearly, with regard to official languages, we can always do better. And we will have the opportunity to work with the Official Language Commissioner in place. There will be a new Official Languages Commissioner as well, and we'll be able to put forward a new action plan. I'm very anxious to see what the Senate is going to table in its report, because it is studying these issues. If the Official Languages Committee wants to study this matter, I would be delighted to hear your recommendations and to study them. But are you telling me that it's the position of... Sorry, the interpreter didn't hear. People are talking over each other, and it's very difficult to follow the conversation.
So you've gone well over time, yes. I've allowed you some leeway, Mr. Clark, and the Minister as well. So now we go to Andrew Dillon for 3 minutes, and then Mr. Nantel.
Merci beaucoup aux témoins d'être venus ici aujourd'hui.
Thank you very much for the witnesses for being here today. Minister, do you believe that this new policy will promote Canadian and Quebec multimedia? Clearly, we recognize that journalism is facing an immense challenge, because there are changes in the way in which people have access to content and consume information. We've always said that we really recognize the importance of journalism, and we also want to respect journalists' independence. With our $675 million investment in CBC Radio-Canada, when we decided on this, we clearly reaffirmed our 3 wishes for our public broadcaster. The first is to ensure that we invest more in local content, so ensuring that we have journalists throughout the country in both official languages, journalists who will be able to develop stories on their communities. Also, ensure that we have the digital infrastructure. We want to develop these algorithms, and we want to ensure that we can invest in a new generation in CBC Radio-Canada to be sure that we have a strong public broadcaster in 50 years' time. As I stated in answer to Mr. Van Dal's question, we're looking at how we might modernize the periodical fund. This fund is the mechanism for supporting local news throughout the country and the development of local journalistic content. This is why I draw inspiration in particular from the very good work done by the committee, and I say that in the context of this modernization. Perfect. Might you tell us a little bit more about your trip to China, your cultural trip to China in 2018? How will this help Canadians and Quebecers? Well, listen, in Quebec, we have very strong cultural industries, and our industry in the cultural sector is strong throughout the country. I had the opportunity to go to China last January. I met the Minister of Culture in China, and we decided to create a joint committee that was set up, and we will have the opportunity to share more with China in that context. And I'm expecting that the Chinese minister will come here, my counterpart, and we will later go and meet our counterparts in China. We created an expert committee to help us in Shanghai. There are several representatives of the cultural sector of Canada that sit on this panel: Cirque du Soleil, Cavalia, people from Vancouver, Archivac, and people from Disney who are Canadian and who are making the most important investment in China and Shanghai, the most important we've seen to date on the part of Disney. And with all the interest I've seen throughout the country, I believe we'll be able to have a very solid and good representation in the context of our mission in April of next year. Thank you, Minister.
Merci. Vous avez raison d'être fier de vos...
You are right to be proud of what you're planning for China. La Guerre des Tucs is a success we haven't heard enough talk about. You've undertaken a lot of work, and it's good that you seized upon this opportunity, 1 in 30 years opportunity. And geolocalization is another issue that you brought up. It's a good idea for the musical industry, etc. It's a good start. But today, honestly, like a lot of people, I doubt of your freedom to act. And no need to repeat it, but in Quebec, everyone's scratching their head, wondering how we can qualify a cultural policy as being cultural if it's an agreement with Netflix. Your agreement with Netflix, well, it will lead to other agreements with other platforms. Are you going to be negotiating with other platforms? Second question, what do you expect? Shopify, for example. You still haven't responded to the Minister of Culture of Quebec, who's been waiting for 2 months for some news, and nothing's happened. I hear your concerns, the concerns of the Francophone sector and the Quebec cultural sector. I had the opportunity to meet with the coalition. I met with UDA, La DISC, etc. We agreed to work on the reform plan. How can we together review the Copyright Act? The Copyright Act is key to improve fairness for our producers, to improve their incomes. We agreed to work together on modernizing the Broadcasting Act and the Telecommunications Act. Also, as you know, the CRTC is studying Section 15 of the CRTC Act. So the idea is to study the new business models, how Canadians access content, who are the players who participate in the system, who benefit from it, and how can we ensure that we are able to support creation and content in a digital world. So we're waiting for the response from the CRTC. As soon as we have it, we'll really be able to work on this modernization step. It's an immense project, but we're proud to have undertaken the project because it's important. It's the only way that we will be able to give ourselves, in fact, the levers as a government, so as to be able to protect and promote our culture in the digital world.
Mais comme je vous ai dit, la question, moi je suis en charge des politiques.
I'm responsible for Canada's cultural policies. You heard this from my colleague. Fiscal tax policies don't fall under Heritage Canada, Canadian Heritage. What I'm proud of is that whereas we had few levers in the area of regulations and laws to seek out platforms, digital platforms, we sought them out and we obtained guarantees for the next 5 years. And I'm hearing that, in fact, there are concerns. I know that it's a 5-year agreement, but at the same time, we have the necessary sovereignty as a government, as a parliament, to indeed ensure that we can modernize our laws to have a strong culture on our platforms. That's an exceptional solidarity effort that they ask you to do what's necessary so that foreign platforms are taxed. Talk about this to Minister Morneau.
Well, Madam
Merci.
Minister, we have completed this.
Thank you.
And I would
Merci
like to
beaucoup.
thank you for coming, Minister. I would like to thank all of our members for being fully engaged. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Van Loan. Meeting's adjourned.